Good evening. My name is Werner Puchert, and this is Finding Frequency. Late night recording before I publish because I made a promise. One episode a day. I'm not going to miss, not start now. But Sunday has been a bit of a busy one. Slow start, as always. Sundays usually here in Poland is kind of slow going because they... when I arrived in Europe, they kind of had this vibe of, like shops were accessible and open 24/7. Well, for the most part, not really 24, but for most part of the weeks. And that is super convenient because it means that if you're kind of stuck behind your keyboard like my wife and I, you always have the weekend and certain times during the weekend to take advantage of this. And kind of reminds me of the old days in South Africa, and at some stage they decided here in Poland specifically to institute a rule where, if I remember correctly, shops only open for one Sunday a month. And I'm not entirely sure what that is. I've been told there's different reasons for it, and I think one of the main reasons is also that I do live in a very, very Catholic country, and on the seventh day, God rested. So I think that is kind of the vibe, even though a lot of people say it's also to make sure people spend time with their families. But it's funny that something like that can also have repercussions, because for a lot of people it means that they are getting less salary. And also in the pandemic, it means that on a day that shops are open, there's way too much traffic in these shops because people are either on a Saturday afternoon like freaking out that they have to get all the supplies for a day. Perhaps they have a family get together or something, and then it's packed. Or when it is open, there's fundamentally a whole bunch of stuff going on. Now, long story short, Martha and I only found out late today that today is actually one of the days where there are shops open. And to be honest, Martha and I have not been out shopping or just having a bit of a browse for clothes or looking at things or, picking up essentials together in quite some time. It's always Martha sneaking off or I'm sneaking off on the longboard around the corner to the little convenience store. So we just grabbed this opportunity to quickly pop out to one of the outlets, then to a sports shop, just to go and do some shopping because... We wanted to pick up some essentials. Martha wanted to get some items of clothing. We had to pick up some shoes for Francie for autumn/early winter. And so we grabbed it. And it's already quite late. Martha went to the mother-in-law to go pick up Francie. We decided to leave him at home so that we can do the shopping in peace and quiet. And it was actually quite fun to do that with Martha. I'm happy to report that I bought him his first pair of Vans. Now, I remember getting my first pair of Vans when I was quite older, but my son is lucky enough to get a nice pair of thermal Vans for the winter. So I'm very stoked about that and excited to give him. I love seeing my son. We don't splurge out on expensive clothes for him too often because he's a little distractor and he's growing quite fast. But there's these little pieces of clothing, these items of clothing that we buy just to make our son not look like a little orphan. And these little Vans shoes are definitely going to be part of that little ensemble of things that we buy him that are special and potentially something that we'll keep, because we keep little items from him for posterity. So when he's a bit older, hopefully I can give him his little pair of Vans back. But in good tradition, if you wear Vans, you have to wear them until they're completely destroyed. So let's see if Francie is able to do that. But I expect or suspect that he's going to be growing out of them way faster than he'll be able to destroy them. But never count out the Francie. So I'm going to leave it there because I really want to get some rest. And I've got a whole ton of stuff to do tomorrow. I've set myself a few goals. It's month end. I have to wrap up a few things on the work front before the end of the month, and then also the new month awaits me on Tuesday, and we'll see what comes from that. And yes, we are in September, October, November, December, and also for these podcasts. I mean, I'm well into episode 240 something already. I can't believe it. It was like yesterday when I was in, I can't remember the name of the city, but on New Year's, where I recorded the first one, and I really started cementing the idea of this podcast there and then. And 200 and something shows in, close to 250. It's not bad going. Cool. So I hope that you will have a great evening, and let's take on this new week. Hopefully it's going to be full of interesting new opportunities. I've got a good feeling about this one. And if all else fails, you can always go out and buy yourself a pair of Vans. Trust me, they're super comfortable and might inspire you to start skating. Thanks for listening.